Bonafide Reformer, Episode 2, The Steel Industry. Today, as Reform UK Deputy Leader Richard Tice sponsors a critical debate in Westminster Hall on the state of Britain's steel industry, I blow the whistle on an uncomfortable truth. The UK's once mighty steel sector has been systematically decimated by decades of mismanagement and neglect, overseen by both Labour and Conservative governments. While both parties have paid lip service to the idea of protecting our vital industries, their failure to act decisively has left us on the brink of losing one of our most strategically important sectors. Labour, the so-called champion of the working class, has stood by as steel communities in Wales, Yorkshire and the Midlands have been abandoned. During the crisis years of 2015 to 2016, Labour's response was tepid at best, and in recent years they have offered little more than vague promises and ineffectual policies. The truth is that Labour, with its obsession over the green agenda and its blindness to the realities of global competition, has fundamentally failed the very workers it claims to represent. While countries like China flood the market with cheap government-subsidised steel, Labour has done nothing to defend British producers from this assault. At the heart of the betrayal lies Labour's inability to balance decarbonisation with economic reality. The party has long pushed for an aggressive transition to green technologies, yet it offers no realistic plan to help British steel producers navigate this transition without collapsing under the weight of additional costs. Steel is energy intensive, and under Labour's vision, UK producers face unsustainable energy costs that make it impossible to compete internationally. The Conservatives, meanwhile, have demonstrated nothing but indifference to the industry. Since taking power in 2010, successive Tory governments then adopted a laissez-faire approach, allowing foreign takeovers and doing little to stop the closure of plants that once provided thousands of jobs. Even worse, the Conservatives have sold off key assets to foreign buyers, raising national security concerns about who controls the supply chains for the materials we need to build our military equipment. Take the case of British Steel. The company's collapse in 2019 and subsequent sale to Xingye Group, a Chinese firm, represents a massive failure in Conservative industrial policy. Not only does this leave the UK reliant on foreign interests, but it also highlights the government's complete lack of a coherent strategy to protect industries that are vital to both our economy and national security. Today, more than 60% of the steel used in UK defence project is imported and rising, a situation that poses a direct threat to our self-reliance in times of global crisis. Despite their rhetoric about levelling up back then, the Tories allowed key industrial regions to wither. The steel industry, which once supported tens of thousands of jobs, now clings to survival, propped up by temporary subsidies and empty promises. What the Conservatives fail to understand is that steel should not be just any industry. It should be a pillar of the national economy tied to critical infrastructure, defence and innovation. The decline of Britain's steel industry is not merely an economic tragedy, it is a strategic disaster. Steel is essential for the defence sector, and losing our domestic production capabilities puts us at the mercy of foreign suppliers, many of whom may not have our best interests at heart. Imagine a scenario in which global supply chains are disrupted, whether by war, pandemic or political instability. Would we really want to rely on foreign producers, some potentially hostile, to supply the steel needed for our tanks, ships and aircraft? Reformers understand that maintaining a strong domestic steel industry is vital not only for our economy, but for our national security. We are calling for a comprehensive plan to revive the steel sector, focusing on energy reform, investment in new technology, and a commitment to buy British for public procurement. We cannot afford to lose any more of our capacity to produce high-quality specialised steel, whether for construction, infrastructure, or defence. Reformers should fight to make sure that British steel producers have access to affordable energy, not the punitive prices that Labour's green agenda and Tory complacency have forced upon them. We should work to reform public procurement rules, ensuring that British steel is prioritised for infrastructure and defence projects. And most importantly, we should protect British steel from unfair international competition by pursuing trade policies that ensure a level playing field. Today's debate, sponsored by Richard Tice, is not just about the past failures of Labour and the Conservatives, it is about the future of British industry. It is about ensuring our steel workers, their families and their communities are not abandoned, and it is about protecting the strategic assets that make Britain strong before it's too late. The choice is simple. Continue down the path of decline that Labour and the Conservatives have laid before us, or embrace a new vision of a steel industry that is prosperous, secure and fit for the 21st century. Thank you for listening to the Bonafide Reformer podcast. This article was first published on X on Wednesday, the 16th of October, 2024.